Hey, what is going on, guys? Once again, it's the chairman back with a review and an update on a recent physical media that I have acquired. And what I did get was from MVD Entertainment, their recent Blue Underground sale. And MVD Entertainment are located in Pottstown, Pennsylvania, which is about half hour north of me. So anytime I can support a local outfit that is in the physical media game, I'm more than willing to. Very happy to. And so what I got was some interesting back catalog items from Blue Underground, and one is Quiet Days and Clichy, which is a French film from the 1970, and it was based off a novel by Henry Miller, who is from of Henry and June fame. And the story is about two guys, and they basically go around and meet a lot of women in Paris and have a good time, wanton women, orgies, and outrageous erotic adventures. So I don't know if this was like considered an X-rated film or not, but it probably could have been. And it was directed by Jens Jorgen Thorsen, and I think, I mean, based on his name, I assume he's Swedish or something. But it's got some, I don't think it's anybody that's well known, but Country Joe McDonald did the original music, so I'm sure some people know about Country Joe McDonald, so this one looks like it will be a pretty good watch. Definitely not for the kids, especially based off the cover art. And I also got Vampires. So I'm going to hold it a little bit better. Vampires. Looks like it's another take on the lesbian vampire thing. Stars Marianne Morris and Anoka. And it's directed by Jose Ramon Arras. And yeah, so Anoka's a Playboy centerfold, and they are bisexual seductresses, of course. Why wouldn't they be? Who roam the English countryside with an insatiable lust for the blood of mortals, as well as the succulent bodies of each other. That sounds interesting. Director Jose Ramon Arras packs this landmark adult hit with chilling atmosphere, shocking bloodshed, and some of the most tarred sexuality of any vampire movie in horror history. This will be a good watch then. Also known as Daughters of Dracula. And then finally, a double feature. So therefore, I really want to pick this one up because one of these is The Girl from Rio, which is directed by Jesus Uncle Jess Franco, one of the greatest exploitation directors of all time, as well as The Million Eyes of Sumeru. Now, if you know the Sumeru story, you know that this is kind of in line with a lot of pulpy kind of fiction that came out in the early 20th century. I don't recall offhand who wrote that, but it's in the vein of like the Edgar Rice Burroughs stuff and some of like the Conan stuff. But anyway, so the director, the producer of both of these films is a guy named Harry Alan Towers. Now, he also produced the Fu Manchu the Fu Manchu series that I also have. And if I'm not mistaken, the guy who wrote the Fu Manchu stories may have also written the Sumeru stories. But anyway, so Harry Alan Towers, he produced a lot of these films, and he produced both of these. And now only one of them is The Girl from Rio, was directed by Jess Franco, but the Million Eyes of Sumeru has Frankie Avalon, Shirley Eaton, Klaus Kinski, and Maria Rome. Now that's a pretty interesting cast there. So yeah, this was 1967. So this is after Shirley Eaton was in Goldfinger, and looks like a pretty good. I've watched Girl from Rio on streaming, but I've not watched the Million Eyes of Sumeru before. So I'm looking forward to that. But what I did want to review was a film I finally got around to getting and buying, which is Dario Argento's Suspiria on 4K Ultra High Definition Blu-ray with HDR from Synapse Films. Now, I've been hesitating getting this film because it has normally been priced very highly. It's about $60 most places. Synapse sells it for $60. But this film is quite honestly one of the best 4Ks I've ever seen. It's amazing looking. From the very first shot, you can see exactly why it's so good. The not just the sharpness of the image presented, of course. I mean, every scene, with very few exceptions, is crystal clear. But it's not just that it's crystal clear. It's the vibrancy and the depth of the colors on display, the shadows, the bright parts, the dark parts. They all blend together perfectly. It is a master class in how HDR can really make an older film. This was made in 1977, and an older film look amazing and look just as good as if it were made today. And it really does put a lot of other films to shame in terms of they're not looking as good as this film does. Now, obviously, Don May and Synapse, they did a lot of work on this film. They put in a lot of time and effort, presumably spent a lot of money. So therefore, it's priced at $60, and I can see that. Now, is there really an actual price that you can put on something like this? Because I think that this film restoration and presentation serves probably more as an example to us as the fans and the customers, as well as to other companies and studios, as an example of what really can be done if you put in the time, the effort, and the money to make a good 4K HDR presentation. And I think they're kind of doing it as a service, more or less, and not really expecting to actually make a profit off of it. Because by putting this out, it tells everyone, hey, you know, you guys better step up your game, because we, a little outfit like Synapse, can take a 43-year-old film, 43-year-old film, and make it look, you know, amazing. And they obviously sourced a good film to do it. I mean, it's probably one of Argento's best. I don't know if it was one of his highest budgeted films, but it certainly looks that way based on the quality of everything in the film, the acting, the setting. There was a lot of special effects. There was more special effects than you would normally see in one of these types of films. So they obviously spent a lot of money on that. So yeah, the film itself has a lot of color in it. Has a lot of vibrant reds, blues, greens, and it really does show off well in the film. Now, if you had picked a film with a more muted or a more less interesting color palette, I don't think it would have shown up as well. But the thing is that HDR should make anything with good color, or decent color, I should say, look even better. And so, for example, I contrast it to Spaceballs, which I just watched, and not only does Spaceballs look flat, but it looks pretty grainy. I mean, Suspiria has grain also, but it doesn't look like it was DNR'd out. It looks like it was just naturally there. It doesn't look like they, you know, took that out, or they tried to digitally make it look better. It just looks like the restoration simply revealed the quality that was already there. Whereas with something like Spaceballs, like I said, with the exception of a few scenes, everything looked kind of flat. Like the colors didn't stand out. Now the film doesn't have a great color palette. Everything's kind of, you know, either white or black or sandy, or just, you know, there's not like a lot of reds, a lot of blues, a lot of strong contrasting colors. So, but still, like I said, even on a very plain scene, even on black and white, for example, HDR can make that scene look like it's almost three-dimensional. You know, that should be the goal. The goal should be that you should watch the scene and you should almost feel like it's 3D. That's how good HDR, I feel, should be. And that's what this film achieves in a lot of places. Now, obviously, there's some scenes where because of the anamorphic lens, the tops and bottoms of the image, the left and rights, they get a little soft, but that's not a problem with restoration. That's just the anamorphic lens that was used. But like even the soundtrack. So they have the original 4-channel English soundtrack, which is what I watched mostly. I started out watching the Italian, but then I realized that they're actually speaking English for the most part. Now, obviously, some of the characters, their lines are dubbed over in English, but the main characters like Susie, who's the American girl, she's speaking English. Her friends like Sarah are speaking English. The Miss Tanner, who's the dance teacher, and the directress, I can't remember her name, of the dance academy. They're both speaking English, so it's actually better to watch the English track, and also they have an Atmos track, an Atmos English track that is also pretty amazing as well. I mean, they did a lot of work on that one because there's a lot of swirling sound effects with the haunting moans and the cries and stuff like that, and you really feel it swirling around the surround sound. Now, I don't have an Atmos setup. I mean, my receiver is Atmos, but I don't have Atmos speakers. So, but even without that, I'm still getting a really good effect. So, someone with an actual full Atmos setup, I think the effect would be even more immersive and amazing sounding. So, even the soundtrack, they put a lot of work into it. So, basically, my point is that I almost feel like we should be giving money to Synapse, kind of as a donation, in a sense, to help them fund their efforts in physical media. Because even like, for example, with Massacre Central High, I mean, they did a great job on that. They took a film whose source elements were probably way worse than Suspiria's and made it look like they didn't do anything. It looked like there wasn't work done. That's just how the film looked out of the can. Now, obviously, I know it wasn't the case, but that's what it looked like, and that, I feel, is what a good restoration should be. Is that when you watch it, you don't realize that it's been restored, that you don't realize that there's been work done on it, that it looked like crap before, and that's what people like Synapse and Arrow and Blue Underground that they're doing. So Suspiria, I mean, where would I rank it? I don't like ranking things because it's kind of all different. I mean, is it as good as Apocalypse Now? I mean, Apocalypse Now is a big studio film, a lot bigger names involved, a much higher budget, so you would assume that it would look better. Does it compare to 2001? Yeah, but 2001 was done by Warner Brothers, and an all-time classic filmmaker, so his stuff should look better. Some of the Blue Underground stuff, like the Lucio Fulci stuff. I mean, I think it compares very favorably to that. Dawn of the Dead. Dawn of the Dead's different looking. Is it better than Dawn of the Dead? I don't know. Is Dawn of the Dead better than this? I don't know. I would say they're pretty close. They're obviously different looking films with different settings, different color palettes. I mean, they were made around the same time, within a couple of years of each other, if not less. So they're good films to watch in terms of comparing how 40-plus-year-old film can look in 4K HDR with an amazing restoration done. Are we going to get more films like that from the 70s, from the late 70s, like that? I mean, I hope we do, but if it's going to take the amount of effort and the money that like a Second Sight and a Synapse have to put into it, and therefore having to turn around and selling it to us at $40, $50, even $100, I mean, I don't think that's sustainable. I would much rather have more films put out in HDR, and maybe they don't do as good a job as these guys. Maybe they do only 8/10 of a job, 7/10, and if it still looks great, I'd much rather have that than have those movies sit on the shelf or sit in a film can, rotting away on the shelf because no one wanted to go and do it. I'm just hoping that films like Dawn of the Dead and Suspiria influence other companies to get going and try to get those films out, if only just so that we can have the pristine ultimate version of that film, and therefore it's kind of sealed away, locked in time forever, and we don't lose them because of negligence, you know. So, yep, those are my thoughts. Kind of rambled there for a little bit, but just wanted to get through my point that this is an amazing, amazing 4K disc, and if you can get it, I would definitely encourage you to get it. I actually got this on Amazon on a 3 for 2, so it ended up being only like less than 30 bucks, I think. So, but definitely well worth it. So, yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks.